Hi, everybody. Today you definitely want your shoes off. I mean, if there's something you feel like you need support, you can slip them on if you want to keep them by you, but we're going to be kind of combining a lot of the pronation type drills with our exercises. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, good. So, if you have wedges, some people do, and I actually have this connection now that got me these for $20. And she sends them online. So if you want some, let me know and I'll set you up with her. She's an EP. But anyway, if you have these wedges, you can use them. If not, it doesn't matter. Just grab a couple socks, or sometimes I'll use like my little circle bands and just roll these up. Okay. So you don't have to have them. They're just, but if you do want them ever, just let me know. They're pretty easy to get a hold of these days. How many of you have more rigid high arches? So about half of you. Okay. If you tend to have very flat feet, good, Linda. Glad you said that right when I was going to say it. That's okay, because we're going to be moving in and out of pronation, which means your foot is going to be supinating. But oftentimes that flat foot actually needs the experience of pronating, like coming in and out of it, to give you the sensory feedback, because you're sort of living into a flat foot all the time. Okay. So it's still helpful even if your feet are more on the flat side of things. If your feet are very rigid, I'm going to give you some options for maybe wedging the foot a little bit different that could help you to get that arch to drop a little bit more. So we're going to start with just a basic pronation drill. Then we're going to do a grounding exercise where you sort of allow your body to just relax in a stance phase of gait and your foot kind of go to the floor. Someone's paused, so I'm just making, is my connection okay? Okay, perfect. So how do you know if you have a rigid high arch? Really good question. So a lot of times, I'm going to put myself on spotlight. And a lot of times what you'll see, if you're standing and just standing your natural, hip width apart, and you can do like a standing rotation where I'm turning side to side. A lot of times what you'll see is the arch, as I turn, I should go into the middle part of my heel and my arch should drop slightly. But what you'll see is either that doesn't happen and you kind of stay out here, or as you're turning towards that side, your foot almost over supinates like that and you fall to the outside of your foot, or you kind of swivel your heel around because there's not movement at the midfoot. Okay, so you take a few minutes and just kind of feel your body turn side to side. You can even stand on one foot, turn side to side, and just see what you notice this morning. Okay, you can do the other foot, kind of feel the difference between those two. Is it easier to feel the inside of your heel on one side versus the other? You can even walk around and just kind of feel how far off your feet are from the floor. Are you really getting into the inside of your heel? After we do these exercises, you're probably going to feel a lot more grounded. Okay. Sorry, didn't even turn that down. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. You're going to find 2 points on your heel. We've done this before, but if this is your first time, you're going to find this point on kind of the back part of your heel. And you're going to find this point on the inside, just a little bit more in front of your heel. So if you put your fingers on there, you can kind of feel those bony prominences at the bottom of your heel. So what I want you to do is start with your feet. I'm not way out here. I'm just kind of in a little bit of a natural split stance. Okay. There's not tension in my body. I'm going to shift my weight laterally over my front foot. So my right foot now, I can feel that outside part of my heel in the back. Okay. So I just want you to sit there for a minute and feel what that feels like. Like, just see if you can get a sense of where you are in space. When you're ready, all you're going to do is bend your knee to go forward, and it's going to turn me away from that leg. And as I bend the knee forward, I'm trying to find this inside part of the heel. So I'm just going to let myself get heavy in that inside part. I'm not going here, because as soon as I do, if I go too far into my toes, I'm going to grip with my toes and lose that sensation. So all I want you to do is find that outside heel, allow your body to come back in space, the knee is straightening, my arch is lifting, I'm staying a little bit heavier on that side, and then I'm going to find the inside of my heel as I rotate away from the leg, okay? If you like, you can add a reach if that makes you feel like you can get the motion a little bit easier, and then you can reach and find the inside heel, okay? So I want you to go through about 10 of these. I'll even pair the breath and inhale, find the outside of the heel. Exhale as I let myself ground into the floor, heavy on the middle part of my heel. Okay, knee is driving the show. I'm not leaning my body forward. I'm letting my knee bend as I turn. So I want everybody to try to do 10 of these on each side. And I'm gonna check you guys out and see how you're doing. If you're really struggling, you can take your sock and put it underneath your arch, not to hold your arch, but to give you something, to give you some sensory feedback. So what it would look like, just so I can show you, I could take this band or sock or whatever and just give myself a little bit of feeling on the inside of my arch. I'm still finding the medial heel, still finding the outside heel. I just get a little bit more sensation of coming in and relaxing down, especially if you have very high arches. Please let me know if you guys have any questions or you're struggling with this. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of a pelvic floor release activity. Grab a yoga block that's small. And if you don't have a small yoga block, don't use the big one, grab like a couple books. So this kind of half. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my pin situation. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my knee on the block. We're gonna do it on both sides, it doesn't matter. So that my toe can drag up the wall, okay? So everybody get close to the wall, one knee on the block, and I'm gonna shift over to that side so that I've got more weight on that right side as I'm pushing and opening up the back of the hip, okay? I'm gonna push away from the floor, so I'm protracting, and I'm dragging my toes up the wall. My heel is not touching the wall. So my hamstrings are on, but I'm not letting it tuck me under like this. I want you to stay with the sit bones lifted. If you want to, you can even put your other hand on your butt, make sure it's lifted, and I want you to take an inhale and think of breathing into your butthole, literally breathing between your sit bone and your rectum, okay? So you're gonna take an inhale there, drag the toe. Then as you exhale, I want you to go back into a rock back position. Now I'm letting myself round, and I'm gonna inhale into my back, so I'm getting space for my thorax to move back. Then I'm gonna exhale, come up, dragging the toe, keeping that sit bone lifted, take an inhale there. Exhale, as you go back, don't worry about dragging the toe, just stay in that crouched position over that leg, take an inhale. Feeling it all through my back. Exhale, come up, drag the toe, sit bone lifted, take an inhale. Exhale, you're gonna go back, let yourself round in this position, take another inhale. So do 5 of those in each direction. So you're gonna have 5 inhales, crouch back and rock back, and 5 inhales in there. And I'm gonna do it from this direction, even though my foot's not on the wall, just because it might help some of you. So if I'm here, I'm shifted down with my knee and over. So I'm just pushing my weight. Then I'm dragging my toe, but staying lifted through this side as I push away. So it's inhale, and then back, round, inhale here. Come up, exhale, inhale here. Typically, if your arches are pretty rigid and you have a hard time getting into your midfoot, you're going to stay a little bit more tense in this posterior pelvic floor. And it may be more on one side than the other. So when you're done with 5 of these on each side, stand it up. And I'm going to give you a sense of what that feels like in your body. Okay, so in standing with both feet, I want you to imagine, you know that cue, like screw your feet into the ground for squats. People used to always say that. I want everybody to screw and lift your arch. So it's like you're gripping with your toes, okay? Feel how that tension in your posterior backside of your pelvis right here, as soon as I lift, it clenches and squeezes. Now I want you to find the inside of your heel and let your knees soften a little bit forward. So just kind of go to that spot that we were feeling on the drills. Let your knees come in and notice how your sit bones naturally kind of spread apart and relax. So as soon as I'm going here, spinning out, I'm clenching. And then when I go to the inside of my heel, let my knees relax, my sit bones stay nice and lifted. Okay. So I want you to get this sensation, single leg on the ground, on one foot. So I'm going to have you stand in front of the wall, put your back heel on the floor, and on the wall with your toe on the floor. I want you to find the inside of your heel, like we just did on those drills, by pushing your knee forward, okay? Once you feel grounded into that, if you need to put something under your arch, you can. I want you to hold that position and just allow your body and your sit bones to completely relax and ground into that medial side of your foot. Okay? And just think of the tissues relaxing and releasing and letting the tension go. I'm not trying to push into the arch. I'm letting everything relax for me. So if I'm here, bending my knee, I'm turning away from that leg to find the inside of my heel, and I want you to just sit with it. Take about 10 breaths here. I know that seems long, but I want you to hold for a full minute. I'm not doing much. My body is relaxed. I'm just letting myself live over that pronated mid-stance position. Find that little bony point and stay on it. You can just breathe in and out through your nose. If you want to take really long exhales, you can. Whatever feels right. See if you stand here long enough, can your body just almost let all the tension go? Can your foot start to just release a little bit? That's what we're looking for. You might start out feeling a little wobbly. And then as you stand here, you start to feel more grounded and stable in your body, and you can let the tension go a little bit. In the beginning, it feels a little, and you can even play around with your visual system. Close your eyes. You'll feel shaky at first, and then you'll start to ground into that heel, and you'll see that go away. So if you want to take your vision out of it and play around with that too, it's kind of a neat experience. So if you haven't switched sides, go ahead and switch sides. And then after this, I promise we're going to get right into our warm up.
Katie, on the bear rock back, do we keep the shift over on the block side, or does we more center it?
Yeah, keep it over on the block side when you go into the rock back. Yeah, so it's like you're compressing your whole side to get the back open. Yeah. Did anybody have trouble feeling grounded on one side compared to the other? Linda, you did.
Left side, definitely. I had my hip was doing something funky on my right side in order to ground into my left. So definitely different side to side.
Same for me.
Okay, so we're going to start with a 90-60 bridge. I want you to grab something, a wedge or your sock, because we're going to be on the wall, and you may want to put it under your first med head. What we're trying to do is create more dorsiflexion at the ankle so we can experience a little more pronation. So instead of being 90-90, I'm going to actually bring my heel down, so now I'm in a dorsiflex position. Does that make sense? So if you are real stiff in the ankles, you might not come down this far. If your ankles have a little more mobility, you can kind of play around with it. But if you sit back up and you put just a tiny little part of the wedge underneath your big toe mound, okay, and you're going to focus on pushing in as you come up and down and drag with your heel. So I'm dragging with my heel, my knee is moving forward as I bridge up and trying to find the inside of the heel that you were just on, okay? So I want you to go up and down. Give me about 10 to 15 of these on each side. Let me show you close up my foot where I'm putting this. So it's going right there, which is going to push the first met head up to allow the arch to drop down, okay? So as you're dragging your heel down, think of your ankle joint coming back. So there's a little bone in there, your talus, and we want it to sort of glide back as our knee goes forward and we flex more. So as you come up to the top, don't squeeze and clench your glutes. They're going to be working, but imagine your hamstrings are sort of dragging you up a little bit more. So once you've done both sides, I want you to stand up and rotate side to side again and see how your feet feel. You can walk around a little bit more, but just kind of turn side to side. Sometimes you'll even feel more ease in your whole body because you can just turn a little bit better. And the feet kind of stick to the floor instead of rolling to the outside. And then you can even just kind of take a few steps around and see if you feel a little more grounded. Okay, so we're gonna get in an ISO hinge position on the wall. So in this, I actually want to hinge forward. So I'm gonna go here into my hinge, sit bone lifted, and I want you to find the inside of your heel by bending your knee forward. Okay, so I am here, hinging. I don't want to be out here. I want to find inside of my heel. Okay. You can even play around with using that wedge if that helped you on the 90-60 lift. I want you to hold this position, get really grounded into that inside heel, lift your sit bone. You can keep your hand on your butt, lifting it up. Take an inhale, breathe down into your pelvic floor, just like we did on that hip shift in the bear, and then exhale. Inhale, breathe into your pelvic floor. Exhale, ground into the medial heel. As you're doing this, notice how much tension starts to build around those tissues that are lengthened. And as you push pressure into the medial heel, that should increase the tension. So the knee is over your midfoot, heavy in the inside heel. Everybody feel that? Anybody struggling to feel their glutes? I'll just say like 6 or 7 breaths. You'll time out at some point. Check in with your toes, make sure they're not gripping.
Is there a slight push and there's a tiny rotate there to get onto that medial heel, or?
So that's the interesting part. Like you could, if you have really high arches, you might find that you need to rotate away. But I almost want you to experience the knee forward because it should naturally twist into internal rotation so you don't have to turn away. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So it's
I
a little
see.
bit of a playing around with it and finding that spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But not everybody's tibias turn in enough to get that internal rotation. Especially if you have high arches, your tibias might be turned out. Okay, so we're going to get in a kneeling side plank with our foot on the wall. So you're going to be knee up, okay? I'm going to come up in a side plank, and I want to be in a stance position. So I'm actually a little bit too close, so I'm going to scoot away. So my knee is over my midfoot, okay? So what I want you to do is I'm going to find that inside heel in this position. I'm kind of rotating towards the floor, okay? My inside heel is heavy. I'm going to go back out and rotate away, and I'm finding the outside of my heel. So my arch is lifting up, but my big toe still has contact. If you find you lose your big toe, put something underneath it. And then I'm going to rotate, find the inside heel, okay? And then rotate back, find the outside heel. I'm going to bring myself a lot closer so you can see what my foot looks like when I'm doing this. So I want you to do 10 rotations. Both sides of your glutes are going to be working their butt off. Here's my foot. I'm in sort of a stance position. As I rotate towards the ground, the inside of my heel is heavy. And then as I come back, you can see my arch is going to lift to find the outside heel. Bend the knee, rotate. You can exhale there, then inhale as you open. Exhale, close. Very good. So let that knee go forward, just like you did on the ground when you were standing. So we're going to do the same hinge after this, but you're going to be rotating in it to find the outside heel, inside heel. Good job, everybody. So in the hinge, I'm setting up exactly how I did it. I want you to start into the inside of your heel so you kind of know where you're going to. So my knee is forward, I'm heavy on the inside heel. All I'm gonna do is straighten that knee and rotate towards the leg. My arch is lifting, and then I'm gonna bend the knee and find the inside of the heel. So now, Joey, to your question, you're gonna kind of play around with those points a little bit. So I'm finding the back outside of my heel here. And then I'm going to bend my knee to find the inside of my heel. Okay, but I'm staying in that hinge position. And I don't care if you like your foot on the ground or up here, it's totally up to you. So outside heel, my knee is straightening. So my shin angle is decreasing. Inside heel, going into that medial spot, nice and heavy as I rotate towards it. Inhale. Knee straighten, exhale, knee bend. And think of letting the foot go as you drive into the medial side of your foot. At this point, 5 or 6 of those should be pretty brutal. Meredith, bring your knee forward more right there. Bend a little. Yes. And then come out of it when you turn. So now straighten. Do the opposite. Sorry. I probably confused you. Yes. So medial heel. Yeah. Now straighten and you'll find the outside. There you go. And then bend and you'll find the inside. Great. So think of always pairing dorsiflexion, knee bend, and inside heel. So I'm here, bend my knee, see how it wants to twist in. That's kind of normal. Okay. And then as I straighten, I'm twisting out. Twisting in, knee is bent. Twisting out. And let the foot kind of experience going from a supinated position, loaded into the ground, into that pronated, real stable position. And you can almost sense it in your body. When you supinate, you don't feel as stable and grounded. When you go into that pronation, things can relax a little bit more. Yes, your tissues are on, but they're able to kind of lengthen and let go in a way. It's not as concentric and holding. Okay, so we're going to go into some sinky squats. Don't overthink this. Don't worry about what your body's doing too much. You're just going to think of going into the inside of your heel. So I want this. I don't want to go like extreme, but I mean, your knees should come in when you squat. That is normal. I want you to just try to sink into the inside of your heel and let that spin happen. Okay, so just kind of relax your body and let yourself sink and give me 15 like this. And just feel the feet let go and the body just kind of bounce. You can even hold a TRX or something if you want a little support in this, or band. Okay, so if you have a plate or something solid you can put your foot on, or you have a block, it works a little bit better than a yoga block, but you can use a yoga block, okay? So we're gonna do a toe off position. Grab like a 5 to 10 pound dumbbell. And I'm gonna have my toes off the block. So my big toe mound is on here. Okay. I'm gonna be in a kickstand on the back. I'm gonna go down into a split squat position. Most of my weight is on this leg. Okay. With the weight here, I'm gonna shake it side to side, back and forth, up and down. There's no wrong or right. I'm just getting some perturbations, allowing my foot to relax, not gripping with my toes. So from the front, I can't. They're not there. Doesn't exist anymore. I'm just side to side, all around, no wrong or right. I want you to hold it for about 30 seconds, kind of shaking this around and let your foot go. See if you can find that inside part of your heel while you're doing this. So catch your breath when you're done. We're going to go back into some sinky squats, but we're going to do split jumps. So instead of being in that squat position, I'm going to alternate. So I'm still inside heel, trying to let my foot really get that contact with the ground. My knee is naturally turning in. Stay stinky and relaxed in your body and just let the motion happen, okay? Try to do about 10 maybe on each side. You can also, Marilyn, I'm gonna pin you because I have to like move my whole camera because you're doing the TRX. You're gonna be my model, okay. So see how Marilyn's grabbing the TRX just to take a little load off. You can do that too. Great job. All right, toe off one more time, 30 seconds each side, shaking that weight around. If you have like a water bag, I don't have one, but you can use those to create a little more perturbation. Does anybody have one of those? I think I might get one. We were talking about it in EP this week. Or a shake weight. Does anybody have a shake weight from back in the day? Or a body blade? Do you remember the body blade? Yes. My dad ordered one year and came at Christmas dinner. We were dying laughing that he actually ordered a body blade off of one of those infomercials. But now I kind of wish I had one.
Do you think this would be something, I can't just set it up right now, but to do like with a battle rope, like find the position and then down?
That's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. You could do the exact same thing and just have your toe hanging off. Okay, so we're going to be going into a rear foot elevated split squat and an elevated push-up where your feet are on the wall. Okay. So grab a weight. You don't have to use it on this first set if you want to, just get the motion down first. But if you feel pretty confident and typically lift heavy, I'd say grab one. Okay. So we're going after the same concept where we're kind of rolling to the outside of the foot as we come up. And this is a little high, just FYI, if you have a lower step, that's fine. As I'm here in this position, I want to keep my center of mass back, but I'm on the outside of my heel here, okay? My arch is lifted, you can see it off the floor. As I bend my knee and I go down into the split squat, I'm going to let myself hinge, and I'm going into that inside point, so I'm heavy, my toes are relaxed here, okay? At that position, we're going to hold. You're going to take a full inhale. Think of inhaling into your pelvic floor. And then exhale, push up out, find the outside of your heel. Inhale, I'm letting myself hinge forward. Keeping my sit bone lifted into the inside of my heel. Exhale, find the outside back part of my heel. Inhale, sit bone stays lifted. I'll do it on this side so you can see my positioning. So my knee is over my midfoot, but I'm not putting a ton of pressure into my toes. Sit bones lifted, inhale. Exhale, come up, finding the outside of my heel when my knee straightens. So take it slow, pair it with the breath. And I want you to give me about 8 to 10 of these on each side. You might only do 6 if they feel really hard. We slow things down. It really increases the intensity. If you are struggling with your foot letting go, you can put a wedge under your met head if you have really high arches, or you can put a sock under your arch just to get that sensory feedback. And that oftentimes can be different foot to foot. So commonly, but not always, the right foot can tend to be a little more of a high arch and the left foot a little more everted, but sometimes it is the other way around. So, and sometimes both are very high. Good, 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 good. I'm just scanning the room. So if you struggle with hinging, this is what I would start with instead of hinging. Getting into your midfoot, rear foot elevated split squat. It's like a combination of a hinge and a squat. It's much easier to get the glutes and the hamstrings to kick on than a hinge, especially if you have a really tight posterior pelvic floor and you struggle with pronation.
I'm noticing a fun dynamic of controlling the hip hike on the down leg so that you don't fall too much into pronation, super pronation. So like if the hip hikes at all, then you get the medial arch, but like too much. So it's nice to kind of feel the balance point there of like, oh, if I let it go here, then that all the way drops. But if I keep the stability in the outer hip of not letting the hip hike, then it'll get right down into that bone in the medial arch.
Can I pin you while you do it?
Sure. Yeah. Especially on my right side, which is the problem, well, the torn labrum side. So if this hip hikes up, then I drop the inner arch. But if I keep it down, I still get the inner heel, but the stability in the outer hip to then be able to come up.
I love that. And that's really helpful, Tegan. Thank you, because a lot of people do kind of shove their pelvis out to the side to avoid having to get the femur back. Thank you. That was really helpful. So basically, I'll do it from this view so you can see. But she's saying, when she said, I wasn't quite sure, but she's saying when she goes here, if she does that, she kind of caves in and actually doesn't get as much pressure in the medial heel versus if she keeps herself long, opens up the sit bone, the pressure goes straight down into the floor. So I like that. It's great. Okay, so we're going to be in a push-up position with your feet on the wall. So get your chair or whatever you can do push-up on, and you're going to be here, okay? Great, too far. So I want my heels connected to the wall. This is much harder than it looks, just FYI. If it's too hard, you can do this on the ground. I'll show you how to do it on your knees. I'm going to push away. So serratus is activated. I'm going to raise one arm as I'm actively pushing away. Tons of core work going on here, okay? I'm going to inhale. Hold my breath, down and up in the push-up. Exhale as I come up. Inhale as I push actively away. Exhale as I come up. Inhale. Exhale as I come up. So elevated, or you prefer to your knees, use your toes dragging up the wall, push away, still hard, exhale as I come up. So when our glutes tuck under, our chest wall drops, we don't get length on the backside, we don't pronate well, what happens? The shoulder blade loses good connection with the ribs. And so we struggle with pronation because serratus can't do its job. So all of these things can trickle up the chain, which is why we're doing this exercise at the same time, so you guys can feel. So if you struggle more on one side than the other, you tend to clench your glutes more on that side, check in and see if it's harder for you to protract. Yana, with your left arch, is it hurting or is it just you're feeling it move?
It's starting to feel like it's pulling because it's my Achilles tendon foot that have all issues. So I'm really feeling it.
Is it like a pull in a bad way or more like the plantar fascia is like lengthening?
Yeah, it's probably like lengthening because I'm moving it a lot and I usually don't do my exercises as I should. So I'm feeling it.
Okay, I can watch you do it too if you want me to pin you and kind of take you through it. We're going to go back and do another set of the rear foot elevated. So if you're ready, you can go right back to that. Tilt the camera down just a tiny bit more. I'm like, almost can see your foot.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, you do have a pretty high arch on that side. So when you start, push your center of mass back. Yes, so you're coming back further to then go into. And then lead with your knee bend before you hinge. Yeah, let that knee bend a little bit more. Yes. Good. And then when you stand back up, let your center of mass come back in space. Yeah, so I think you could even stay more heel heavy when you bend the knee. So you're heel heavy, but you're bending the knee. Yes, heel heavy, keep the knee bent. See how your body wants to almost go too far forward?
Yeah.
because it's probably already more forward because that left side is usually more forward. So then if your talus is pushed forward and you're more in your forefoot in general, your arch is going to be working a lot more because you're like in a toe off position or late stance.
Could be because I've been working so much on staying on my forefoot. So it's like I just go straight there instead of actually being on my forefoot.
Yeah, instead of kind of going into it
Yeah.
from a place of being back. Yeah.
So it's more like a squatty lunge, a squatty hinge.
Yes. Yes, that's good. That's perfect. And your foot just released a little bit there.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay.
I'm taking notes because John is coming to see me in a few weeks. So
Yay.
I'm so excited.
That's awesome. Oh my God, I'm jealous. Okay, so you're going to do another set of push-ups if you finished the split squats. See if you can relax your glutes in these push-ups. Check in and see if you notice yourself clenching at all. If you do, just let them go. Yes, Marilyn, that makes sense. I just saw your comment. Really feel the back expansion I need on that push-up. Yeah. It's like when you inhale, you're trying to push your ribs back towards your scapula. Yeah. As you're kind of pushing your scapula onto your ribs at the same time. So we're going to do one more set. If anybody wants me to watch them or is feeling struggling on these rear foot elevated squats, please let me know. So what I was telling Donna is that as I'm going down, if my center of mass is going here too much, my arch is going to grip and I'm going to kind of feel that. My center of mass is staying back, my sit bone's still lifted, and my knee is forward. So I'm finding that heavy heel point. I've got dorsiflexion, but I'm not here. So if we start at the top, back in space a little bit, especially if you tend to be more forward, start back in space so you have a place to go into. See what I'm saying? I can come back, almost exaggerate it a little bit to find the back of the heel and then go into the middle part of the heel. And there's nothing wrong with even going into the forefoot just for our purposes today to get that midfoot expansion. And then inhale at the bottom. See if you can open up the pelvic floor a little bit.
Does it make sense that when I was actually putting the wedge or I just have the bands, but under my big toe instead of like the arch, that it helped me sort of get into that midfoot and feel the big toe mound, like as it kind of pronated versus feeling like I was losing my heel? Does it make sense that that would have worked or?
So you put it under your big toe and the met head would be down. So you were dorsiflexed. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it kind of depends. Do you know if your met head tends to sit more up
It does, yeah. I either sit back in my heels or I sit all the way on my toes. So I was like losing my heel. In order to keep my heel and feel the inside of it, I kind of had to do the big toe instead of the mound, or the
Yeah,
arch.
and it definitely could be that you're a little more elevated. And so when you lift the toe, that drops down. So you get a better sense of the first med head. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
But if you have really high rigid arches, a lot of times it's the opposite. It's like that is down and can't go up. So it could be for sure. So we're going to do one more set of push-ups and then we're going to go into a side lunge with a drop catch and a half kneeling windmill. So Marilyn just made a point on here in her comments. She said, I'm always reminded when we pair breath and strength about the fact that my body needs the added tension to truly feel the expansion I need. So if you're a person that is doing breathing drills and you don't feel like you get much out of them, it is okay to just use your breath when you're doing strength training, and that might feel better for you. Okay, because I think that does truly happen for a lot of people. And especially if you tend to lock up your pelvic floor and your rib cage, but not have as much tension in the rest of your body. So for the side lunge, you're going to be kind of dropping a weight. So maybe you want it to be heavy enough, like a 5-pound weight may not feel like enough. So you might go up to like 10, 15, even 20 pounds. Okay. We're going to sit into an ISO position here. Flip-flops right here. So I want to go side lunge. I'm hip shifting. Don't hike your hips. So you can do a couple of hip hikes to like feel the difference between hiking and unhiking. When you unhike, you're going to feel a tension building back there. I'm still trying to find the medial heel. Okay. All I'm going to do is drop, 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 and catch. Okay. Staying over that midfoot. So lots of length, drop, drop, drop. So it's creating a little more yield in the tissues. If you want, I'm going to give you 2 options for the breath. You can exhale to create more tension, or you can inhale to try to create a release in the pelvic floor. And it really just kind of depends on the person. You're still open and lengthened as you're creating the tension. I personally can always use a little more release, so I'm going to probably tend toward the inhale. But some people feel like they can't generate enough tension in that position, and I feel like the exhale helps. So give me about 10 of these. And notice your opposite foot. It's in a supinated shape, right? So for this windmill, I was actually reminded about this from Erica. Forgot about this exercise, but I do like it. And it's great for opening up the back of the pelvis. You don't need super heavy weight on this. I'm going to be in a half kneeling position. I'm going to reach my arm up as I lean down. I'm getting a big stretch in the back of the hip. I'm going to take an inhale and then exhale come back up. Down, hand to the floor, inhale. Exhale, come back up. If that's too much of a reach, grab your yoga block. And you can come down to your yoga block, make it a little bit less. And then exhale, come up. So think of your femur going back into the socket a little bit as you lean forward. So we did those windmills 2 weeks ago when we did the kettlebell stuff. And that's why Erica reminded me of it, because I didn't even remember doing it. But this is a nice little alternative if you hated those or your body hated those. It's a little more gentle. That tends to go into your back. I think this is a good option. Still getting that nice spinal rotation. So when you're done, I'm going to stay on for an extra 3 or 4 minutes because there's this grounding exercise I really want to get to. So we're going to do one more set of the side lunge. If you have to go, you can come back to it later today. It might be good for the end of the day anyway. But go ahead and do another set of the side lunge with the drop catch, one more windmill, and then I'll go over the exercise. I don't have anybody at 9 o'clock, so I can stay on a little bit today. So for that side lunge, get down into that mid stance position. Hip comes back without hiking. Okay, stay neutral. Pelvis, I'm not turning away. Hip bones facing forward, knee over midfoot. Find the inside heel and then drop. And when you feel that little tug, that's the sensation I want you to have. It's like a little tension tug. Think of what that's doing to your connective tissue and your pelvic floor versus how your muscles are having to work. I don't really care how your muscles are working. I mean, I do, but I want that spring-like pull. Everybody feel that little bit of a tug when you drop. It's slight, but it makes a big difference.
It's a completely different experience to inhale or exhale.
It's so weird, isn't it? Which one did you like? Because you are a little bit more mobile. So which one felt better to you?
I like the inhale. It felt like way less work, but more what my body needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anybody else try to switch the breath? Thanks, Marilyn.
I always like the exhale, especially on my left.
Me too. Me too. My left is so much tighter.
So you like the exhale? Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's because of the right hip turn. I get tighter back here, which would make sense, right?
Well, I don't know, because I feel like if you're tight back there and you inhale, it'll push the pressure back into the pelvic floor. If you inhale.
So if I'm sitting into this left side and I exhale, it's like I'm getting my left rib cage back. I can keep my left heel heavy, which is like my struggle. And it's like I'm tensioning up kind of like everything else so that I let go in the back. Like that's just always my experience.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. See, and that's where I think everybody's so different with this stuff, and that it like makes sense to play around with it because I hold more tension, like I spin out at my femurs. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so everything in me is a little bit more tension. And so the inhale kind of like makes sense for my body. But I can see how if everything else didn't have enough tension, you'd hold more tension in the pelvic floor.
Yeah. Try both. I'll do it again.
Yeah. And sometimes I just play around with doing both. I mean, it's fine just to kind of,
It's cool.
yeah, Joey, that's so interesting. I wonder if it's the dance or gymnast background in us or something. Those years of all those positions. So one more of the windmill if you're on it, and then we'll do a little grounding exercise. And I think no matter what, if you want to feel good in your body, slow down and breathe in your exercises, and you're probably going to just feel better in your body, right? So it's not like rocket science. That would make sense for a lot of people. Okay, so you're going to stand up actually on this, but you can use this later on as a nice reset during the day, like if you're not in a place where you want to lay on the floor. I'm going to put my hands on the wall and I'm going to bend my knees and find that inner heel. Okay. With the hands, I want you to find the right here, your thenar eminence, like this kind of smushy part, and push into there too. So sort of the arch of your hand or the heel of your hand. Okay. And then bend your knees. Let your tissues, let your sit bones lengthen in this position. So they, if you go from here, they're shortened, and then they kind of get soft and kind of spread. Okay. Close your eyes. Sense in heavy into that inside heel. Take a slow, pausing inhale in. So you're going to inhale a little bit, pause, inhale a little more, pause, inhale a little more, pause, inhale the rest of the way if you have anything left. Hold the air in so your rib cage is fully expanded. The pressure is pushing down in all directions. And then exhale and just let it go nice and easy. Don't clench, don't overactivate the abs. Now inhale again with pauses. Inhale a little bit. When you get to the top of that inhale, pause for a second and just let the tension go. Stay into your feet. Your body's going to start feeling a little shaky. Try to just sit with it and stay into that inside heel and try to just let the tension go. Do 3 more full inhales there. I call these waterfall inhales. Check in with your pelvic floor, check in with your sit bones. Everything stays soft. Trusting in your feet. So if you tend to stand a lot for your work and you notice you're just clenching all day long and holding a lot of tension, I think it can be useful to not just practice letting go when we're laying down on the ground, but when we're actually standing up against gravity. Because we don't really do that very much.
I also like this better than like a turtle back breathing exercise like that. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like the over tucking and like really like flexing, because it just feels like trash. It's like two hard opposites.
Yes, I agree. It's like just let the pressure go where it's going to go. And I was talking to Michael about this yesterday because we're working on our webinar, and he was talking about the gas exchange and the physiology behind that, which he's going to go into some detail about. But he was saying like it's the pressure, the physiological pressure of the gas exchange when you hold that inhale that actually makes everything relax out a lot easier on the exhale and allows, like, it's almost better. How he's seen it is like holding the inhale in and waiting for it, which I just found it very interesting from like what's happening from a cellular perspective. It's almost like your body is craving that a little bit. So if you're a person who grips a lot, that tends to be the experience. It's like you're already like squeezing everything out. We don't need to try so hard on the exhale and squeeze everything out anymore. Awesome. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next week.